Hello everyone, this is Cyrus and welcome to the Gowns and Crowns podcast. Believe it or not, we have an international makeup artist today, and you can't make this stuff up.
But I can teach you how to make yourself up, and the key is, whoever thought that I would be on a podcast? It's this man right here.
You tell us a little bit about what you've done, Cory.
A lot. A lot. But because of the privilege of my association with this man, I dove headfirst into the world of pageants. And let me tell you, it's different. It really is different.
What we want to talk about today, well, you still didn't tell people what. So Cory has been in the entertainment business. He's worked with celebrities. He's done makeup for commercials. He's done makeup for magazines. I love people who are a tremendous, tremendous talent, but they won't brag on themselves. And he is correct. Our Gowns and Crowns family met Cory when he actually did our senior instructor's makeup, Amanda, for the cover of a beauty magazine called Talk Magazine. And that's how we met Cory. And so we ushered Cory into the beauty industry.
Very quickly.
And I guess it was kind of a baptism by fire. And the reason we brought Cory on the podcast today is because we want to talk about makeup in pageantry, talk about the trends. We've been lucky enough to work with Cory for almost 15 years. We've seen a lot of things change. We've seen a lot of good makeup, seen lots of bad makeup.
Lots of bad makeup.
But hopefully what will come out of today is we can give you some beauty tips or makeup tips or that will help you put your best face forward in a pageant competition.
And I agree with that. And I have to say, I tuned into your first podcast, and there's one thing that you were really incorrect about. He is actually internationally renowned because he's a humble brag on himself as well. He is judged internationally, and we used to be married, not anymore, but we're still good friends, which is great.
We're still good friends.
Because we respect what each other does professionally. Because when we were married, he jumped the pond and left me back handling all the girls here doing their pageants while he went and played around Europe. So it was quite fun. But he is so talented and so great. But seriously, when they're talking about what pageant's going to be best for you, my philosophy really pairs well with Gowns and Crowns core. We want it to be about you. When you win, you win. We're the support team. You make the right decision. You need to look like yourself. If we do 3 hours of makeup, you cannot sustain that for a year of appearances. So my whole goal and aspects of when you're getting ready and doing all the things that you're supposed to do and find the proper pageants, you need to do something that's good for yourself. You need to look like yourself on stage. And if you're a little girl, you don't need to look like you're a 30-year-old woman in Vegas. You just don't.
Cory, what would you say is before we even get to the makeup part of it, what is the number one tip you could give a pageant contestant that would allow them to have the best makeup on stage? You understand what I'm asking?
Knowing their skin type. If you are an excessively oily girl, and I am so sorry for all of you back in the day, but thank God now we have products that can help you on stage. You can be matte, but really knowing your skin type is where it's at, because you do not want to be standing on stage and someone next to you has really dry skin, but they can look really pretty, but then you're over here looking like you're sweating and very nervous, and that's just not a good look.
Tell us a little bit about your training. You have a big background in makeup.
I do have a big background. I started off early on in the spa industry, worked my way up to be spa director. I also worked with multiple plastic surgeons, was over the skincare departments, loved that. And I kept kind of just stumbled into it. And I didn't do modeling like he did, but I did a little bit when I was young. And it actually happened that the makeup artist didn't show up one day. So that's kind of how I got into it. So I just jumped in and did it. Okay. I totally botched that, but we're okay.
So when it comes to stage makeup, you've been to enough pageants over the last 15 years because you had to really re-educate yourself on, because there's a difference between magazine and television makeup and actual stage makeup. And most girls who compete in a pageant, we go through 3 phases. We have the day makeup, the interview makeup, and then the stage makeup, which Cory is amazing at all 3 of those. But you had to learn what pageant makeup was all about.
When I came onto the scene, I was not popular because pageant makeup was outdated, it was terrible, and I wasn't going to do it. My name was not going to go on to that. And I think it's really kind of funny over the years, the trends that I started back then, people are now that used to talk smack about it actually and really just go against what I use are suddenly all doing that now. And I was doing it 15 years ago. So that's kind of nice. That's like a win when you really have changed
it's like, well, I think
changed
it's
the
also,
industry.
I think no matter what industry you're in, if we're talking like adults, there's also going to be that level of professional jealousy. And when you bring somebody into the industry, like we brought you from the entertainment world into the pageant industry, all of these people who didn't understand what you were doing for these girls and these girls were winning, instead of embracing it, they all wanted to criticize it or make fun of it. And then all of a sudden, then they wanted to start copying it. And I was like, and they always say that the greatest, what is it?
The greatest form of flattery is imitation.
Imitation.
But I'm glad that you brought that up because I really wanted to touch on something. It's about the right people. What I do and what we do at Gowns and Crowns that I love, it's about the girl. It needs to be about you. It needs to be about what brings you to the stage. And when I work with my clients, I might not have the most naturally stunning person, but if these are her goals, we're going to help her get where she needs to be. And when we help people with the confidence inside, and as an artist, when you get to bring out what you see in someone and a client and a girl and get to see her walk on stage where she was usually scared to death, but now she's super confident, that's what it's about. And it's that girl winning. I paint faces all day, so it doesn't matter to me what you're doing. You can get married, you can do a commercial, you can go on a date, it's fine. Or we can get you the right things for stage. But that's one thing that I really like to point out that you do for people.
Cory's really great, which I think we've worked with a lot of great makeup artists. We have
a lot of great ones.
We're just particularly fond of Cory because he's part of our family. But I think what we do is we try to make a girl well-rounded and build her confidence, and then he gives her the face to match that confidence without jeopardizing the integrity of who she is. I've judged pageants before, and I know Cory has judged a couple. There's nothing more disappointing than when you see a girl, let's say you see a girl on stage before you see her in an interview, and you love her on stage, and then she walks in person, you're like, I'm sorry, were you in the pageant last night? It's not that she's unattractive. It's just that she didn't look at all. It's just she didn't look at all like she did on stage last night. I think that in any beauty industry, there's a level of manufacturing that is required for you to be stage ready, but you should not be manufactured to the point that you do not look like who you are. And that's the number one thing from a judge's point of view, not even a pageant coach's point of view, from a judge's point of view. I want you to be consistent in what you look like. I want your photograph to be the person that walks into interview, who is the person who walks on to stage. And yeah, we live in an era now where makeup is incredible, absolutely incredible. But I think we're teaching, Cory doesn't teach this, but I think you've got a lot of makeup artists that are teaching girls at a young age how to fabricate what they look like. And that's an awfully dangerous,
that's slippery slope.
slope.
That's a slippery
It's
slope.
a dangerous lesson to
be
teach
on.
somebody at a young age and expect them to maintain that for the next 30 years. The other thing I like about Cory is you're definite about what a little girl should look like, a youth or a teen should look like, and what an adult should look like on stage, and you don't blur the line across them.
It's just, that would just be doing a disservice. And what will we be teaching those young ladies? They need to be confident and be happy and thrilled about themselves, and why rush them growing up? But this really goes back to what you were saying with the right pageant system. If you do the research, if you're a girl who loves sports, you can be in a sporty pageant and you don't have to wear a lot of makeup. There's some pageants that require no
makeup.
Which I'm like, yay, because I can have the day off and send them. But, it's just whichever level's best for you.
So Cory, I know when people tune in, and I know when we told people we were going to have a guest makeup artist, girls watch all these tutorials now about how to do the perfect makeup. So I'm sure they're tuning in today because they wanted to learn something. What are some of the trends in makeup where pageant's concerned right now? Or what is something you think's outdated?
Hair.
Okay, that's not makeup. That's a whole nother episode.
But it's the truth.
Hair is another whole episode.
Hair's another episode. We'll bring on hair later.
Hair is a whole nother episode.
Makeup, to me though, but it's my personal aesthetic. I like natural beauty. My whole philosophy is a soft glam. where it's naturally dramatic makeup where you look like yourself, but people are like, wow, you look stunning. Not like, oh my God, your makeup's perfect and you don't look like yourself. That's just a disservice. So I think wearing makeup that looks more like skin and not being overly cakey and just a clean aesthetic to bring out your features on stage is really what's always going to be in classic and help you do your best.
Okay.
Because because we don't want to be...
This is why we're not married anymore.
100%. We are so much better as friends. So much better as friends. But you don't want to look back on pictures and do the trend, like when they had like, you know, the crazy brows that went this way and that way, and people were like, you don't want that. You don't want your kids looking one day and be like, Mom, what were you doing? Were you doing drugs or on acid or something? No, we don't want that.
All right, so I have a couple of things I wanna throw at you.
Okay.
And I want you to give me your first impression. Okay. Makeup artists who put double and triple eyelashes on girls.
Depending on the eye, I am been known to do a double lash myself. One time a 3 lash, but it was for a photo shoot.
Okay. So you would approve of that?
Depending on the eye, if it's a tasteful lash.
Okay. Number 2, overlining someone's lips.
That is some girls' whole identity and best friend, so I do not take it away from them. However, I do think there's a way to overline naturally, and there's lots of tutorials online to do that. If you are going like rolling your lip in and drawing it up to your nose, that's a little much, so we need an intervention. But a little bit of overline I could support.
All right, if they're of age. Being old enough to have, I'm ready to get to that point. They have to be old enough to do this, so...
Okay.
Would you prefer a girl that you had to overline her lips or a girl who had lip filler to correct it?
That is 100% up to the girl. That makes no, I am pro lip filler. Clearly I need to get mine done. But I am pro that if that's what they choose. However, it's really up to them. But if somebody comes to me and they say, hey, I really want to get lip filler, I can make their lips enhanced and look a little better, but we're not going to have, for a photo shoot we can, but if you're going to be doing something live on stage, you can't have like 2 inches of lip liner.
All right, and then the
Did
third...
I answer that question?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Like you said, I don't have a problem with somebody having something done cosmetically as long as it suits them. I was just wondering what you preferred.
Correct.
What you preferred.
I prefer them to be happy with themselves, and I will accommodate for whichever.
I personally find now that when I look at girls, a lot of girls on stage, which, like I said, I've done this for a long time, so I've seen the evolution of beauty. Not only have I seen the evolution of the beauty standard, I've seen the evolution of makeup on stage. Right now, I find that a lot of the girls are overly contoured. How do we prevent... What is the best
all
advice?
The facial expressions that I did, because I don't currently have Botox, yes, I rolled my eyes in disgust. Over contouring is a crime. It's a crime. It's a crime.
So how do young ladies prevent a makeup artist from overly contouring them?
That's kind of a two-sided statement so I want to take a step back. If a girl goes to a makeup artist and says, I want to have a nose like this, sometimes that can only be achieved with extreme contouring. However, if you're a good professional, you should be able to help and guide your client to have something that looks more natural to make them feel better about themselves, but not have those crazy, harsh, obvious lines.
When they do
If you're looking like a drag queen, which drag queens are amazing, I just don't think women necessarily should look like a drag queen while competing on stage.
I don't know. I've seen some drag queens whose makeup was better than some of the girls.
100%. Okay, I should say that. Let's say if you were a 1980s drag queen. Yes, I'm older, but I'll say it that way. 1980s drag makeup, no.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And then another topic that always comes up. I was reading an article in Cosmopolitan. Blah. All right. So another topic that comes up that I was reading in Cosmopolitan magazine was brush applied makeup versus airbrushing. Because apparently a lot of magazines now use airbrushing and they don't use brush makeup. What are your thoughts on the two?
Hello, everyone. Makeup is always recycled. There are some new things that come, but trends come and go. And then here's the kicker for the young people. You guys don't quite know this. There's a whole generation that thinks skirts were new. They were not. So there's lots of makeup techniques and there's lots of things that have been around since 1930s, but the professionals knew sometimes it's coming to light. But there are a lot of new products and things that are out there that are
And then
helping.
How do you feel about I don't know what to call it, but it's where they look like their eyebrows have been airbrushed onto their head or stenciled onto
Stenciled.
their, and they're so much bigger or
Here's the thing.
that.
It really, eyebrows are a very personal thing as well. Some girls have an abundant eyebrow, which is amazing. There's some girls that I work with that their eyebrows are so full that I'm like, well, you're not putting anything on there because you're going to look crazy. Then there's some girls that have like 3 hairs. So in that situation, if they're on stage, an eyebrow stencil isn't bad. So there's lots of great tools out there. You just have to have the right tools and techniques lined up for your face and what works best. Because you really just want to feel beautiful and look beautiful, but still appear somewhat in a natural state.
One thing that I would like to mention when looking for a makeup artist, because of course, Cory is one artist who isn't available all the time. So at Gowns and Crowns, we have to have a little black book of makeup artists. But one thing that I do appreciate about Cory, when Cory does somebody's makeup, he says, he'll tell me or tell the girl, if there's something that you do not like, please tell me. I'm a brush for hire. You are purchasing a service. But you have some of these makeup artists that are so high on their ego that they'll do something and a girl doesn't like it. And they'll go, we've literally been at a competition and the girls will call me crying after they've paid thousands of dollars to have their makeup done at this pageant. And I said, well, what did the makeup artist say? They said, well, that's what I've done and that's what you're going to have. But it's not what's best for them.
For any ladies that are going, pardon
I
me.
want you to address
For any
that.
ladies that are thinking about doing a pageant, currently doing a pageant, or have been doing pageants for years, your makeup artist has a job to make you look appropriate, to give you a nice environment. And for you, that's your time to relax. That's your time to feel good, be in your zone. And you need to be able to communicate with them. I am never offended in the thousands of clients I've worked with. I tell every single one, if there's anything that you don't like, and people watching this who've worked with me, they know, if there's anything you don't like, you just let me know and we will fix it. And we will make it good, because I might do something that I think is going to be beyond grand and could get you an Italian Vogue, but that might not be your aesthetic. So we just have to get you where you want to be.
I think the point I'm trying to make with bringing up this story about what we appreciate about Cory and what we appreciate about a lot of our makeup artists,
We have a lot of
but
great
there
ones.
are these artists out there that they do things and they make a girl very unhappy and then they melt down in the middle of their competition.
And I'm glad you talked about that, because this is going to step out just a little bit more than just makeup. But this is what I think is so great about Gowns and Crowns as a collective. It's about the girl. She wins. She does the work. She's there with good guidance, and we're trying to make it a pleasant, wonderful experience as we can, but it's about the client. When other people in this industry, they get really territorial, I'm going to even say it, crazy, and y'all know who you are, crazy, and they start claiming these girls. And I'll go names if we're allowed to.
No,
But, okay.
no.
You know I do it. You know who it is. But that's the thing. It needs to be, you need to love what you do. You need to support your clients, and you need to provide professional, comfortable, and leave your ego at home, because if your skills are good, why is there an ego?
Exactly. I agree with that 100%. And if a girl wins a pageant and she's happy with her makeup and she's happy with her hair and she's happy with her wardrobe, then we all win. That is our goal. But unfortunately, one of the downsides to every industry has a downside. But in our industry, you have people out there in the makeup industry who are trying to make a name for themselves, not trying to make their client happy. Well, at the end of the day, all you've done is made a name for yourself of making clients unhappy. And then you sit around wondering why no one's booking you. So at the end of the day, I think it's very important that if you are a makeup artist, to also be empathetic enough to your client to know that what they want matters also. So, Cory, to wrap up today, how is if someone can't book you, what are the 3 things somebody should look for when trying to book a makeup artist?
Well, first and foremost, a makeup artist that is available for the day that you need them. That's a given. 2, you can look at some of their work. Now, I'm terrible. My partner's great with it, but I'm terrible for not posting. So I have wonderful, beautiful work, and I don't post online. But I've done it so long that, by the grace of God, word of mouth, so I'm very busy. However, you look at their work. Talk to other girls about the experiences, see if you like them. There's some people in this industry that are insanely talented, and I even refer, but I'm like, listen, I'll tell the parents, I'm like, no, you need to prepare that they might handle things a little less tactfully than what you're used to, but they can still do a good job.
Are you ever offended if a parent approaches you about something they would like done differently?
It depends. I really don't, because when I'm there, and if we're talking about a parent, what age are we talking?
Well, usually well, I don't know. I've seen
Like
I've
15
seen
under,
full
well, that's what
on.
I'm saying.
I've seen 20-year-old girls melt down and not have the nerve to go and tell the makeup artist they hate their makeup.
So if a parent comes to me, I always encourage that, because I'm used to working in a fishbowl. I'm used to working on set. I'm used to working around people, seeing people in all kind of circumstances. So that doesn't bother me. I think that if a parent approaches the makeup artist and says, hey, could we do this? Or if we don't like this or whatever, I think that's one thing. I think that's totally acceptable. Just do it tactfully. Because God forbid, I mean, if I'm there and somebody screams across the room at me and they haven't talked to me in the face, I'm probably not going to be the nicest.
Well, nobody's.
I'll just keep it real.
Well, nobody's going to react well to that.
Correct.
But I've also been backstage where I've seen Cory do some wonderful things for girls that weren't even clients, right? Clients of ours. Even if it's been to walk over and tell a girl that she was beautiful, or that's what I like about Cory too. He will compliment somebody else's work.
100%.
He goes, your makeup looks great.
I am one person, and I do work with other people, and I'm grateful for that. But if somebody looks good, don't you think that we should live in a world where we tell them? There's so many clients, there's so many people to go around. We are in a business where we get to encourage and lift people up and help people chase their dreams. So if I see somebody who I don't even know and they do a great job, I'm like, my God, your makeup is gorgeous. You look great. I go tell the person, and it's great, because guess what? If I'm not booked, who am I going to be sending them to then?
I can't think of a better way to wrap up today. Cory, thank you for being here, sharing your expertise. We're very thrilled to have Cory on our team at Gowns and Crowns, but I know there's a lot of makeup artists out there, so be sure that you do your homework to find the right one for you. This is Cyrus for the Gowns and Crowns podcast, and remember, it's a world of beauty and a universe of possibilities.